Hello everybody, Andrew Field here. Sorry for making video so long. I'm sorry for not making a video in so long. Big news, huge headlines that just came out, so I had to make a video. I had to stop what I was doing. So I'll get to it. I'll tell you when you'll know. Starting off the Supreme Court battle, immediately after Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed. Ginsburg's last wish, by the way, was having a new president pick her successor, or at least like whoever wins the election, you know. McConnell is saying to put a conservative judge on the Supreme Court before the election when they were stopping Obama because they were saying wait for the election. And that's even more ironic because Trump will get to prove himself in re-election. But when they held off Obama's pick, Obama couldn't even run for re-election. So his nominee, Merrick Garland, they held for nearly a year. Voting out McConnell, for me, Mitch McConnell is second priority behind Trump. Trump pushed Senate GOP to move without delay to replace Justice Ginsburg. Biden condemned Trump's push to nominate Ginsburg's replacement as an exercise in raw political power, because it is. Key Senate Republicans Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska have said they will wait until the election to put in a new justice, which is good. Thank you for doing something right for once. Mitt Romney, though, said he'd consider putting a new justice in, which is really disappointing, especially since the justice Trump was talking about was like 40, so she could stay in there for like 40 to 50 years. It's like, oh, hell no, you know what I mean? But Trump got booed when visiting RBG Ruth Bader Ginsburg's coffin in the Supreme Court. Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. That's his pick. Trump appointed Amy Barrett to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 7th District. Barrett is a favorite of the religious right. A former law clerk was a former law clerk to the conservative Justice Antonin Scalia. Judicial record is only 3 years, which is low for being the highest of the land with the Supreme Court. She was a law professor at the University of Notre Dame. The Department of Justice. So it didn't seem like she was a worse candidate, but she seemed like far right instead of close to the center. And 3 years of experience isn't a whole lot. So, but the Senate's likely to push it through, I would assume. Let's see. The Department of Justice names New York City, Portland, and Seattle anarchist jurisdictions. The grand jury decided over Breonna Taylor's case. One Louisville officer was charged over Breonna Taylor's death, but no more charged harshly. Two other cops didn't even face charges, and the other one, the charges were extremely minor. So two Louisville cops were shot as protests continued after the grand jury's decision on the Breonna Taylor case. Bill Gates said it was outrageous Americans can't get coronavirus test results in a day, which I 100% agree, especially being so many months after the start of the outbreak. The U.S. saw a post-Labor Day increase in daily coronavirus infections with about 40,000 around September 20th, so that was like a week and a half ago, but still there was an increase. 31 states saw an increase in cases last week. 4 states saw a downward trend. Trump said in his speech in Ohio he was trying to say that COVID still wasn't a big deal, which is very ironic with the news coming up. Still downplaying the virus, by the way. With U.S. coronavirus death toll over 200,000, more Americans have died from the virus than 5 wars combined. The CDC is discouraging trick-or-treating. Updated CDC guidance said coronavirus could spread through the air and could travel distances beyond 6 feet. The CDC removed their guidance. The Trump administration seems to have corrupted the CDC by changing their guidances. The CDC said it was posted in error, which is total bull. Former Pence aide said she will vote for Biden because of Trump's flat-out disregard for human life. It's actually incredible, and actually it was seen on the debate stage, but you could see it throughout his campaign. And the fact that 200,000 Americans die, right? And he just has no sympathy about it. Like, if you asked him about it, he'd be like, well, that's low. And in the debate, he actually was saying if Biden was president, then 2 million Americans would die. So he completely makes up this statistic, right? Instead of saying, yeah, it's really, of course he's not going to admit his mistake, but he could at least say 200,000 Americans dying, that definitely wasn't the plan, and, he should admit his mistake. But at the very least, he could be like, it's really sad that we hit that number. But he won't even go there. Are we at the top story yet? We're almost there. Oh, yes. The top Trump aide, Hope Hicks, tested positive for coronavirus. And that was huge news because not only was that like Trump's top aide, she went along with Trump on several recent trips. So, and I worry about the debate because Trump and Biden were right there, but they didn't shake hands or anything like that, so I don't think they were in contact. But Hope Hicks tested positive, and then Melania and Trump were quarantining while they were waiting their results. And Donald Trump has coronavirus. Yes, you heard me correct. Oh yeah, and Melania, whoever that person is. But Donald Trump has coronavirus. The most ironic thing of 2020. The one thing you could actually predict. 2020, right? Coronavirus like destroys all the norms of mankind. We all had to shut down. Life has not been the same in the slightest. Sorry, that's another news article about them getting coronavirus, Trump and Melania. So, if you probably couldn't predict much this year, but the reason Trump hasn't gotten it so far is because he gets tests every day. He gets like the top health standards, right? More than anybody else. But I guess I can't say that it's like that predictable. But he was at all those rallies and everything, and it was like, how is he not getting it when he's with all these people? But I guess since he tested all the time and he had all these precautions in the White House, but I don't really feel that bad for him, honestly, and I think I can say that on YouTube because he caused 200,000 people to die because he failed with coronavirus. He has no sympathy, like I said, and he held these huge rallies, which probably caused thousands to die in itself directly by hosting those rallies, and not telling people to wear masks. And it's a long list, right? We all know it. So the guy that failed America with coronavirus gets coronavirus. That's pretty ironic, right? That seems very ironic. I was like, wow, that's crazy how ironic that is. That the guy who fails coronavirus doesn't even want to talk about coronavirus, cares about the election so much, and was wanting to probably go on the campaign trail more and go to these big events, and now he's got coronavirus. What, is he still going to go out with coronavirus? I don't think so, because I don't think the White House is going to let him, but this is a huge deal. He's got to sit there in the White House now in quarantine, and there's probably going to be some repercussions, but yeah, don't feel bad for the guy at all. But, I mean, he is old. How old is Trump? I think Biden is 77. I think Trump is like 72. I think Trump's like 72. So that puts him in high risk, especially, he probably has some sort of precondition. I mean, yeah, he, he doesn't want the American public to take coronavirus to take it seriously and to be safe about it, especially his own supporters, which is also ironic. But I mean, he's better, be safe about it himself, because if he's definitely gonna die if he acted like he told his own supporters to act, if he just went out there and didn't care and all that stuff. But I don't know. This is gonna be very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, he better be careful because with his age and everything like that, he's gonna be. It could hit him hard. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. That literally just happened, by the way. Senator Bernie Sanders had a great speech talking about how Americans and Joe Biden need to win big in November. Called on Republicans to stop hypocrisy and defend American democracy. Miles Taylor, an former Department of Homeland Security Chief of Staff, said Trump is a threat to election security. No surprise there. Is gathering ex/current Trump administration Trump administration officials to build a campaign to convince Americans to get Trump out of the office. Report showed. Despite international pressure, China is continuing to expand its network of over 300 detention camps in the region of Xinjiang. China's government is really a disgrace, and I wish we could sanction China, but I mean, I understand America's got coronavirus. We got a lot of problems at home, so we got to deal with that first. A damning New York Times reports that Trump missed paying taxes for 10 years. And the Trump supporters who, say that Trump not paying his taxes is okay. And this was obvious that he didn't pay his taxes, by the way. If this came to surprise you, you were living under a rock, because Trump didn't want his taxes to come out so bad that he put his tax returns to the Supreme Court when they were being subpoenaed, and because he wanted the Supreme Court with his Supreme Court justices to rule that the president was above the law, and the public didn't need to see his tax returns, which they didn't. But somehow the New York Times got his tax returns. I have no idea how, but they did. It looks like, and he didn't pay his tax returns for 10 years, which is freaking crazy. And then in 2016 and 2017, I think, the year he won, and then the year after, he only paid $750 in taxes that year. The billionaire. This billionaire guy, he paid $750 in taxes. Man, I really hope his ass goes to jail. That's all I'm going to say. Because there's no reason, like, the whole basis of our country is to follow the leader, right? If the leader needs to follow the law, so everyone else follows the law. If the President of the United States, who's the Commander-in-Chief, can't even follow the laws, why is everyone else, bound to follow the laws? It just breaks the whole system. So he's a crook, and I hope he goes to jail once he recovers from COVID. I hope he loses and then goes to jail. Yeah. Because, see, if something happened to Trump before the election, it wouldn't be satisfying. I want Trump to lose the election fair and square. That's what I want to happen. The report also said Trump had $500 million in debt. Some reports actually had it even higher. So Joe Biden released his 2019 tax returns right before the first debate. And the first debate was the 29th of September, so it was only like 2 days ago. It was definitely highly chaotic and not the best moment for America. But I think Biden did a good job. I obviously like Biden and don't like Trump, but if you just look at the debate itself, Trump was interrupting Biden literally every single time, and he was attacking the moderator, which, by the way, was a Fox News host, Chris Wallace. It wasn't some idiot like Ingram or Carlson or one of those dummies. I think, what did I say, the moderator? He's a bit more like moderate, like, I don't know, he seems to make both sides angry, but he seems like way better than all the other Fox News hosts. So, yeah, he was mad at the moderator, he was mad at Joe Biden, and he just kept talking over Joe Biden. Joe Biden did a good job to hold his anger most of the time, so I think he did a good job. Chris Wallace, right, I think was the moderator's name. Yeah. So most people said Trump lost the first debate. The biggest moment of the debate, though, was that, he failed to condemn white supremacists before, but this one on not only a national stage, but a world stage, mind you. And the moderator, Chris Wallace, and Biden were both pushing Trump to say, like, condemn white supremacists, don't allow them to be a part of your supporters just condemn them, say what they're doing is wrong, their violence, all this stuff, right? And not only did he fail to do it, he called out a far right group, Proud Boys. He called out their names, right? And he said the words to stand back and stand by. Okay? And right after they were celebrating, right after the debate, and they made stand back and stand by their freaking logo. Okay? This is how stupid Trump is, right? And that's because his supporters are white supremacists, and that means if you support Trump, you're in the same group as the white supremacists, the KKK, all this stuff, right? So if you don't realize the people around you are bad, you're just, I don't know what to say. Aides were struggling to defend Trump's actions, obviously. Tampa Bay Lightning with Hockey News won the 2020 Stanley Cup over the Dallas Stars. Both teams seemed to play well, and good for the Lightning. They choked the last couple of years, and were a very good team in the regular season, so good for them. The NFL had a huge outbreak, it seems like, with Tennessee Texans. Or, sorry, I said Texans, didn't I? Titans, sorry. Tennessee Titans, not Houston. Tennessee Titans. They were worried that it would infect some Viking players because the Titans and the Vikings played week 3, but the Titans players seem to be okay, and I think they're practicing. But they're not practicing with the Titans because staff and players were both infected, and they wanted to postpone the Titans-Steelers game upcoming this week, which would have been a great freaking game, by the way. 2 3-0 teams, that would have been awesome. And it sucks fantasy-wise, too, because it really screws those people over, because the Titans-Steelers game was supposed to be postponed till Monday or Tuesday, but after more people on the Titans got COVID, they're saying just later in the season they're going to reschedule it. So it's not looking good, and if there's a couple more events that happen like this, I think the NFL is going to have to shut down. The biggest difference between the NFL and the NBA and the NHL is a bubble. The NHL had the bubble in Canada, in Toronto and Edmonton. The NBA had it in, I think, Orlando, maybe? It was in Florida, in Disney World. I'm pretty sure they had their bubble. And those are going well with the bubble. Baseball, they cut their season shorter, which was very smart. And I think they had mild outbreaks, I reported. I think one was Miami, and I think they had a couple. But they were minor, and they were able to contain it. But with football, I think there's so many people on each team, and there's so much that has to be accounted for. I'm sure it's very difficult. But I really don't want the NFL season to end. I'd be super, 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 super pissed off because the NFL had, so much time to prepare for this. COVID is not as bad as it was in the beginning. In July, it was like 75,000 cases a day at one point. Now it's like 40,000 cases a day. I know it's still bad, obviously, especially with colleges. I'm sure that's a lot of cases. And it's bad, but the NFL makes so much freaking money that they can test people all the time, and they have all these strategies. And the testing worked out because that if they didn't have the testing, the whole team could have gotten infected, and if that were the case, the NFL would already be over. But since they had testing every so often, they were able to catch it before like everybody got it, and stopped the practices and everything for the Titans. But it's a huge deal. I mean, the Titans were 3-0, like I said, and that stops Pittsburgh. But the Titans could be longer. We don't know the side effects. We don't even know which Titan players got it. So there's a lot to it, and I hope the NFL goes on because my freaking Bears are 3-0, and I'd be really pissed if they were having a good year. They finally went with Foles and left stupid Trubisky on the dirt. And, if the NFL ended, that'd really suck because the Bears had a good shot, But it's not looking that good. If it happens, like I said, in a couple more teams, it's probably going to be over. So hope for the best for the NFL. 2 major glaciers in the Antarctic are rapidly damaged. could have major consequences for global sea rise due to devastating wildfires going on in California in the past few years. Yeah, the wildfires were really bad in California, and I hope the best for the people to make it out of it and recover, and to the families that lost anyone from the wildfires. There was big news with Disney. They had to lay off 28,000 people, which is a lot of people, as the pandemic hurt attendance at theme parks. Parades around the world made floats mocking Trump, which was really funny actually. And then California Governor Newsom issued an executive order to end sales of gas-powered cars in California by 2035, which seems pretty ambitious, but I like the move for sure. Alright, that's all the news I have for you guys. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Peace out and stay safe.